Generating an MD5 checksum of a file. Is there any simple way of generating and checking MD5 checksums of a list of files in Python? I have a small program I'm working on, and I'd like to confirm the checksums of the files.
You can use hashlib.md5. Note that sometimes you won't be able to fit the whole file in memory. In that case, you'll have to read chunks of 4096 bytes sequentially and feed them to the MD5 method. Note, #_md5.hexdigest will return the hex string representation for the digest. If you just need the packed bytes, use return #_md5.digest, so you don't have to convert back.
There is a way that's pretty memory inefficient. Single file. List of files. Recall though, that MD5 is known broken and should not be used for any purpose, since vulnerability analysis can be really tricky, and analyzing any possible future use your code might be put to for security issues is impossible. Imho, it should be flat out removed from the library so everybody who uses it is forced to update. So, here's what you should do instead. If you only want 128 bits worth of digest, you can do .digest, column 16. This will give you a list of tuples, each tuple containing the name of its file and its hash. Again, I strongly question your use of MD5. You should be at least using SHA-1, and given recent flaws discovered in SHA-1, probably not even that. Some people think that as long as you're not using MD5 for cryptographic purposes, you're fine. But stuff has a tendency to end up being broader in scope than you initially expect, and your casual vulnerability analysis may prove completely flawed. It's best to just get in the habit of using the right algorithm out of the gate. It's just typing a different bunch of letters is all. It's not that hard. Here is a way that is more complex, but memory efficient. And, again, since MD5 is broken and should not really ever be used anymore. Again, you can put, column 16, after the call to #_bytestr_eater ... if you only want 128 bits worth of digest.
I'm clearly not adding anything fundamentally new, but added this answer before I was up to commenting status, plus the code regions make things more clear. Anyway, specifically to answer Nemo's question from Omnifarius's answer. I happened to be thinking about checksums a bit, came here looking for suggestions on block sizes, specifically, and have found that this method may be faster than you'd expect. Taking the fastest, but pretty typical, timeit.timeit or /user/bin/time result from each of several methods of checksumming a file of approximately 11 MB. So, looks like both Python and /user/bin/md5 sum take about 30 milliseconds for an 11 MB file. The relevant MD5 sum function, MD5 sum_read in the above listing, is pretty similar to Omnifarius's. Granted, these are from single runs. The map ones are always a smidge faster when at least a few dozen runs are made, and mine's usually got an extra f.read block size after the buffer is exhausted, but it's reasonably repeatable and shows that MD5 sum on the command line is not necessarily faster than a Python implementation. Edit, sorry for the long delay, haven't looked at this in some time, but to answer at Adrandal's question, I'll write down an Adler 32 implementation. However, I haven't run the benchmarks for it. It's basically the same as the CRC32 would have been. Instead of the init, update, and digest calls, everything is as lib.adler32 call. Note that this must start off with the empty string, as Adler sums do indeed differ when starting from 0 versus their sum 4, which is 1, CRC can start with 0 instead. The AND-ing is needed to make it a 32-bit unsigned integer, which ensures it returns the same value across Python versions. In Python 3.8+, you can use the assignment operator column equals, along with hashlib, like this. Consider using hashlib.blake2b instead of MD5, just replace MD5 with blake2b in the above snippet. It's cryptographically secure and faster than MD5.
If you want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.